Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to the program. And today we are going to visit our favorite friend. This is one of our favorite segments. It's called Pool Party.
Pool Party.
So we're going to check out what Tim Pool has to say.
Oh
my God, please give me a second. We've been paying attention to this guy on this channel for the past, month, and he's been giving people a lot of hope that their guy who they really like, for some reason, Trump, is still gonna win. Still gonna somehow win. He went to all kinds of different things. One of these court cases is gonna happen. That didn't happen. There's gonna be something else is gonna happen. There's Supreme Court's gonna fix it. That didn't happen. Nothing's happened. He's been giving these people hope for a month, assuring them that there's all these paths to victory. And in this video, he has found another path to victory. Even though it's over, like the Electoral College, the voters have already voted. It's already been certified in every state. He still has to, I guess, because of his fan base, he still has to tell them what they want to hear, which is that there's still a chance. And what he's found here is this most obscure case that makes no sense in this context. It's super, super funny, but let's listen to this.
Today is the day that the Electoral College members in each different state cast their votes for the President of the United States. And while it is one of the most significant days in the electoral process, it is not the end. They keep saying it's over. December 8th, safe harbor deadline, it's over. It's not over. The lawsuits clearly continued. They say December...
Imagine having to do this. Imagine having to do this and knowing that if you don't say this kind of stuff, a bunch of people are going to, I guess, unsubscribe because they got to hear this kind of stuff. What an odd position to be in. To say things that telling people that what he's basically doing is telling these people, they're like 10-year-olds. They're 9 or 8-year-olds, and their parents just got in a car accident, and the parents are both dead, and they're telling the kid like, well, they might make it. They're literally both pronounced dead, and he's like, your parents might come back. Your parents, they're sometimes in heaven, God sends people back because they have unfinished work. He's like telling that to the kid, basically.
December 14th, it's over. They've counted their votes. And yes, as USA Today reports, 4 states contested by Trump cast their Electoral College votes for Biden. Boom, it's done. Newsmax, a newer channel heavily supported by Trump supporters, says the contested states have voted for Joe Biden, the future president-elect. They keep saying it's over, it's over, it's over, but it is not.
That's exactly what they're going to come back. Your parents are going to come back. Heaven, there's some holes in the cloud, and when people go up to heaven, they'll sometimes slip through the cloud, and then they'll come back to earth, and your parents will be back alive again. So what he seems to be saying is that how voting works in this country is a bunch of people vote, right? It's supposed to be democratic. Bunch of people vote, and then electors go and take those votes and then go and place those votes for whoever the candidate is. That's sort of how it works. It's a dumb system that makes no sense, but that's generally how it works. There you go. What he's saying is there's another group of people who are going to go, not on behalf of the voters, but just guys are going to show up and they're going to say, we're also electors and we're for Trump. So who are you going to choose? It's like the Spider-Man meme, Spider-Man pointing at himself, but they're electors, and then, Mike Pence or whatever idiot is going to be like, I don't know which one. I guess the Trump one, because I can't tell because it's got my eyes all googly. Let's listen to what he says.
See, an alternate slate of electors in the contested states is going to vote, and we're going to send those results up to Congress, he continued. This will ensure that all of our legal remedies remain open. That means that if we win these cases in the courts, that we can direct that the alternate slate of electors be certified.
So this has never happened, what he's describing. He tries to somehow tie this to the 1960 election, which is actually pretty interesting. We could talk about that in a second. He reads the Wikipedia about it, which disproves what he's saying entirely, but he keeps trying to tie this to that election. But this has never happened before. Like, there hasn't just been random people who show up and they're like, we're also electors. That's what they're doing. This is part, and remember, you got to remember, like, this whole thing is just a fundraising scheme. Like, all this fighting the election stuff, they know they're going to lose. It's just a debt-paying scheme, which is perfectly on point for these lunatics. So they're going to keep pretending like there's something still going to happen. But the idea that you're just going to send random people who are going to be like, we're also electors. It's like Ralph Wiggum or something. I'm an elector too. And they're just standing there. And imagine people who, I don't know who these people are. It just says that they're Republican, loyalists or whatever. I think we kind of know who it is. I think we kind of know people who have a little too much time on their hands. I think a little bit of that. And man, imagine that. That is a deep suckering.
Electors from every state will meet Monday, that's today. Miller indicated that Trump supporters will act as alternates in a handful.
And by the way, he's reading these quotes from this guy, Stephen Miller, who's an absolute lunatic. Like, look up any article about him. I mean, there's a lot been written about him. He's the kind of proof that these people are insane. Well, there's lots of proof, but he's kind of the nail in the coffin of that these people are demented, and that this is what makes this guy a nefarious character, is that you're reading quotes from Stephen Miller like he's a normal person.
Results. Should the Trump campaign succeed in overturning the outcome in any of those states, Miller said, the alternate electors could then be recognized by Congress. Nothing
never happened, won't happen. Didn't happen, actually.
In the Constitution or state electoral process allows for such an alternate slate of electors. But
so even the Hill article had to point out, hey, this guy's just full of crap. He's just literally making something up to keep this fundraising scam going. And I can't wait to see how Timmy the Toolman Taylor, what he's got to say about it. Sorry, Timmy the Poolman Taylor.
Is still irrelevant. What matters is, if they say something today, something could still change. Look, I say this a lot, which got
what the fuck does? If they say something today, something can still change. If something happens, then that's what it is, my friends. I think look, I don't think Tim Pool is a bad guy. It really seemed, I mean, he just totally, I think he just punted there. But I don't think this guy's a bad guy. There's some people who I'm like, this person is just like traumatized, or there's something wrong with them, like that guy Ben Shapiro, or what's the other one's name? The one who wears a gun holster. Those people, I'm like, those people need some kind of help. There's some kind of lack of, they haven't been socialized or something. Like, they don't know how to not be a creep. Like, there's some part of their brain is missing. This guy just seems like he's just following the clicks and following the money, and it's kind of falling apart now. It's so thin that he's going with these articles that are as hope, that are debunked with, or are literally say this is not going to happen in the article, and then he has to kind of be like, but something to still could happen though.
I don't understand. We're talking about human beings. Okay, if the will of the people changes on some day and people just do it, then so be it. Look, I'll pull up the historical precedents. We can see 1960.
Okay, so this is amazing, because if you read this, it's actually kind of an interesting thing that happened, and he'll read through the whole thing. But basically, in 1960 in Hawaii, I don't remember if he skipped over this part actually, or if he read the entire article. But in 1960 in Hawaii, it's Nixon and JFK, and they did a count, and Hawaii population is small. They did a count. Nixon was ahead in the initial count by like 100 and something. tiny, tiny margin. So they were like, okay, margin is so small, we have to do a recount, basically. This is kind of pretty standard. So they had to do a recount. During the recount, the governor in Hawaii just says, I'm just going to go ahead and certify this. I'm just going to go ahead and certify. But then they finished the recount, and it showed JFK ahead. So they're like, okay, JFK actually won this. So they had to send, other electors to go, because it turns out JFK actually won because the margin was so small. What he's comparing this to is, hey, these states all certified. They're sending their electors. They did, they did recounts. They did, they took a lot of stuff to court. Nothing held up. It's done. It's over. We're just gonna have people just show up and say they're electors. This wasn't just random people showing up to say that we're electors. They were doing a recount. They were mid-recount when this governor certified. So, in other words, this story that he's comparing it to has nothing to do with what he's talking about.
United States presidential election in Hawaii. They say, initially, it appeared Republican candidate Richard Nixon had won in the state, as he was 141 votes.
Also, I think he got flagged for misinformation because a bunch of, from what I've just, looked over, made a quick look, around different newspapers and stuff. They had to correct this, and he got flagged for this on YouTube too, I think.
Votes ahead after the first count. A court-ordered recount was still underway when Hawaii's Republican governor signed the certificate from the GOP electors, giving the state's 3 electoral votes to Nixon.
Okay, so that's while they were doing a recount. He read that. Recount was still underway.
Let me stop right there. There are still election contests going on. Lawsuits are still happening. And data.
So okay, there's the comparison. It's between like a bunch of lawsuits and an actual recount that's actually happening. I mean, this is sort of like, well, if you just wanted to, if you wanted to win an election, all you would have to do is just file a bunch of lawsuits and then send your own electors, I guess.
And say, I don't think Trump wins. But if we follow the precedent from 1960, it's possible that Mike Pence in several, couple weeks says, based on the new information in court orders, we're not counting the Democrat victors. That's why.
Great. Cool. So they send they send the electors, right? They send the people who represent the people who voted. And then Mike Pence just goes, I don't like those ones. I'm going to pick these guys who just showed up in their trucks. Like, that's what he's literally said. That's what he's describing. Amazing. Amazing. He's squeezing so much out of this. Okay, so this is the next day, and it seems like he pretty much he just abandons the whole dueling electors thing, which, again, the dueling electors thing has never happened. And so this is the next day. This is today, after the votes were cast.
The Electoral College has officially cast their votes, and the votes were cast for Joe Biden in many of these contested states. And although there are many Republican electors who cast unofficial votes, so they remain on record, everybody seems to be lining up against Donald Trump and for Joe Biden. Mitch McConnell came out today and said Joe Biden is the president-elect. Yesterday, Newsmax.
That guy, Mitch McConnell, I guess he's talking about Joe Biden. I don't know.
A very pro-Trump TV channel said Joe Biden will be the future president. And even Geraldo Rivera went on Fox News and said, it's over. Okay, it's not over. And I know it's kind of a dumb thing to say, but it's not over.
You know what? I officially don't think that this guy's a nefarious guy. Like these other right-wing YouTube creeps. I think he's just trying to get some click money, because that's amazing. That's amazing to be out here for a month saying there's still hope. Guys, it's not over. We got this. It's not over, guys. they're saying it's over, these creeps. And then he's like, guys, it's not over. I know that's dumb to say. You've been saying that for a month. You've been saying that for a month, my friend. What's going on with you? What's going on with you, man? Look, you know that thing that I've been saying for a whole month? I know it's dumb. But I need those clicks, dude. Come on. Come on. I mean, that's what really this is it's almost like, I think there's a scene in Casino. I haven't watched Casino in a long time, but, you know, there's this thing in a casino when, like, a whale shows up, somebody who's going to drop a lot of money, and, you know, a whole ecosystem starts revolving around them of the people who park the cars know they're going to get a bigger tip, so they start, you know, talking to them and yada yada. And then, you know, there's like sex workers and dealers and floor managers and pit bosses and all this stuff. They all kind of like, they line up to that person's whim, you know, and what that person wants. And I feel like that's kind of what's going on here. There's a lot of, it's interesting to watch, and it's pretty obvious. We all know this is going on. And there are even whole quote unquote networks, like whatever those weird outlets are. And they're really, their whale is the people who are just crazy about this saggy, melting weirdo who that they have been convinced is going to, I don't know, do something for them, anything for them, and that they're not just suckers. And it's the same thing. There's just like this weird feeding frenzy, and I don't think he cares about it that much. This really, to be able to say, I know that's dumb, what I've been saying, but I need that money. I think it just means it's not like, and that's good. I guess it's good that he's not like a true believer where he's like totally deluded that this guy is some kind of a populist or somebody who's going to do anything good. At least he knows the truth. He's not crazy, I guess, but it's just a market that arose, and a bunch of people, scurried to meet the demands of that market. I think that's mostly what it is. And check this out. So he did a video just the day before where he's like, look, this has happened. This could happen. He read an article that wasn't really related to it, but as proof. And now look what he says. It's amazing. I love this guy.
Over. And I know it's kind of a dumb thing to say, but it's not over because we're humans, we're fallible, and who knows what's going to happen. Sure, there are unofficial votes from Republicans. I don't think Mike Pence will take them seriously.
So that was his whole theory. It sounds like he's kind of trying to jump ship. Like, this is his I'm jumping ship video, sort of. Like, I know I've been on this Trump gravy train for the past however many years. I'm going to kind of start to back off. Because the video from just the day before, he's saying, look, this is a chance. This is a possibility. This is a chance. And now he's saying, I don't think those other people who showed up, I guess pretending to be electors or whatever they were doing, people who they just decided to drive somewhere. Maybe they wanted to take a trip or something. He's like, I don't think he's going to pay attention. Then why'd you do that video before? Were you like one of the few people taking that seriously? You have to hand it to him because he uploads. Must be something about YouTube. And again, I'm too much of a dumb fool to play the game on the rules, on YouTube's rules of success. Every upload is around 30 minutes. So there must be some angle to that. So I got to get on that. I don't know if he's just filling time with a lot of this stuff, but this next part is it's fantastic.
And that's why I point out the segment from David Pakman that says Trump coup could work. If you think Trump is just going to turn around and say, you've got me, I've lost, I think you're wrong.
So he's toning down his language. In past videos that I watched, it's kind of one of my favorite pool tropes where he'll be like, Trump's a lot of steps ahead. Like, he kind of started with that. Like, he's like, if you think he's just going to roll over and take it, he's not, because he's a badass. Again, he's like Will Smith in that movie where he's doing action stuff. Bad Boys. He's like Bad Boys and Bad Boys 2. But the other really funny thing about this is I watched this whole David Paxton clip, and I'll put a link to it. What's going on in this clip, and again, I'll put a link to it, you could watch it, is a caller calls in from Germany, and the caller says, hey, you guys should be careful because there's crazy right-wingers over here too who are trying to overthrow the election, and I don't want that to happen over there. And somehow Tim Pool takes this as like, we still got hope. There's still hope. You know, I feel it seems like he knows this is coming to an end. This sort of like pro-Trump thing where a lot of people are clicking and subscribing. And he's like, what am I going to do next here? What am I going to do next here? Let's do a tone check on this. Let's see what this video says.
So is your message a message of warning that it could happen here as well?
A lot of people are saying it's impossible. I think it is now after Safe Harbor Day.
Yeah.
But it has happened in Western civilized countries.
Well,
and I think this will be
important.
This will be the MO going forward for a lot of right-wing crazy parties.
They will just try to steal elections they've lost.
Hey, look, he's saying there's still a chance. He's saying there's still a chance. Fantastic. Why would he even bring up this video? It's odd. Maybe he's just like, he saved all the money he made from this, and he's just like, I don't care anymore. Like, even if everybody does subscribe, screw it. That actually would be kind of an interesting play if he just totally, he just did like a 180 ideological turn where he's like, actually, I've been a leftist the whole time, even though I was one of the most vocal Trump supporters on YouTube. And everybody's like, wait a second, you rascal, you beanied rascal. So truly oddest channel. One of the most followed political people on YouTube. And we saw a segment where he tried to compare two things that were totally different. Then he brought up a clip that was the exact opposite of what he was saying. Leave me a voicemail if you want, like this person did.
You know, when I watched your new video today, I was like, wait a second. Did Ron Howard actually direct The Grinch from the 90s or whenever, the 2000s or whatever? And I looked into it and I was like, there's no way. Like, someone like, probably like Brett Ratner or some horrible director made that. And I was like, it couldn't be Ron Howard. And then I looked and I was like, wow, it actually was Ron Howard. So I would just like to say thank you very much for your educational video today. It really taught me a lot about society, and I really do agree, like, Oscar the Grouch should not be living in trash. Peace out.
Well, there we go. We got to get Oscar out of that trash, get him a home. It's not good for him to be living in there. He's some kind of a toxic creature, just like the Grinch, as we've talked about before. He looked like he was in some kind of a chemical spill or something, that Grouch. And yeah, Ron Howard directed that movie. It's one of those movies, it's like the remake of Willy Wonka. Way, way better than the original, just way better. Anyway, thank you guys. I'm going to stop making fun of people now and, do some work on my own self instead of just pointing out the flaws and, YouTube lunatics and Ron Howard. I'm going to do some work on my own disaster of a self. Okay. Thank you.